the Assad dictatorship correctly condemned me as an enemy of the state. And then 3 weeks later, Assad fled to Moscow. And then 8 months later, I was grateful to be in Assad's office in Damascus with the new president of Syria. And so times have truly changed. And how incredible it was bipartisan, bicameral, with Senator Jeanne Shaheen from New Hampshire. Additionally, it's exciting to me to give Syria a chance with President Trump welcoming President al-Sharaa to the White House. It was reported it was the first time in 250 years that a leader of Syria has visited the White House. That's from the American perspective. The Syrian perspective, with the world's oldest city, Damascus, is the first time in 8,000 years that a Syrian leader has shown up in the White House. And so, indeed, with the challenges that have been identified, and hey, Chairman Mast was quite pointed with President al-Sharaa about addressing change. And so this is not new, as we were together a couple of months ago. Ambassador Tom Barrack is doing a tremendous work in securing a ceasefire and integration agreement between the Syrian government and the Syrian Defense Forces. I'm really grateful for the efforts of Prime Minister Masoud Barzani and the Kurdistan regional government in Iraq for assisting in these historic diplomatic efforts and the agreement between President Ahmad al-Sharaa and General Masoud Abdi Mazloum. I'm grateful to have founded the Kurdistan Regional Caucus 20 years ago, and now the Kurdistan Regional Government of Iraq is a symbol of prosperity. With that in mind, we have, unfortunately, hardline elements of the PKK in Kandil that are intent on spoiling this with continued conflict. And what can be done to avoid the conflict which would destabilize the Kurdish communities of Syria, Turkey, Iraq, and Iran? And Ambassador Jeffrey, how can Congress support President Trump's objectives of integration and stabilization? And how can we address the Kurdistan Workers' Party, PKK, role of some disrupting?
Thank you, Congressman. I've been involved with the PKK since the outbreak of the attack in Turkey in 1984. Wow. We're at a turning point. First of all, with the ceasefire in Turkey, this is real, between Öcalan, held in prison, the leader of it, and the Turkish government. It's been going on now for a year. It is gaining real momentum. As you mentioned, after decades of dispute between the PKK offshoot in Syria that we now know as the Syrian Democratic Forces and the KRG, the Kurdish regional government in northern Iraq under the Barzanis and Talibanis. There's been much friction over the years, but that is now moving beyond. Everybody sees the Kurdish issue in Syria of individual rights and self-governance, and there's a considerable amount of support. I think that Kandil will eventually come around. I think that they have lost the ability to dictate to the leaders of the SDF, the YPG, the PYD, they go by many names, and I think they are working all in all relatively well with the central government. For example, the Syrian Interior Ministry sent in essentially company-sized elements to several of the Kurdish cities almost a week ago now, and we've heard no friction, and what I've heard from the scene is that people are working together. It depends on who you're dealing with. Some of the Sunni Arab tribes from the Euphrates are still a problem. But all in all, we have good cooperation. This is being managed intensively by the U.S. government, but also by many other countries. And so far, they're all cooperating. Thank you, sir.
And Ambassador, my time is short, but I want to point out how hopeful I am that indeed the new government of Syria can have a relationship with the government of Israel, how mutually beneficial it would be. Additionally, I believe we should all be working to remove the Russian bases at Hmeimim and Tartus. They're the only Russian bases outside of war criminal Putin's bases, and they provide logistics for the dictatorships of Africa and enslavement of the people of Africa. All the more important we work together.